This is DJRF, and you're listening to Country Lunch on WOOL 91.5 FM from Bellows Falls, Vermont. And today, let's see what we got today. I think we're continuing our interview here with Paleo Mountain Man and Budcat 7. And we got Budcat 7 on the line. Let me see if I can get him in here and talk to him. Hello, Budcat.
Yes.
Okay,
Can
great.
you hear me?
Let me hang up the phone here.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I got you. Great.
All right, good.
Hey, it's good to have you back on the show here. Jim's getting ready. He's just was hanging out at our place drop-in center over there. Was it free lunch over there today?
Yeah, they have a lunch every day there. It's pretty good.
Oh, great.
They take care of the local people very well.
That's good.
It's all donated food.
Anyways, hey, guys, what are you guys into today? What do you think?
Stone walls, language of the walls. There's a lot of interesting subjects, but you can pick one. And if you look at language in the walls, specifically the walls of New England that we're talking about, you can find very clear evidence that they were trying to say something. And what kind of language it is, I think it's visual. And I think it tells a story, and it's a visual story. They were very visual, and they did a lot of artwork. And they put it into their walls also. And when you look at the small stones that they carved, the very intricate, detailed carvings and all the beautiful stonework and the balance they put in it, and you look at the walls, it has the same thing to it. And there's subtleties, like a piece of quartz here and a piece of quartz over there and a rectangle stone here and one there and a spiral of round stones. And if you put it all together and you look at it, you'll see that they're trying to tell us something. And every section of the wall seems to tell a different story. Looking at it from the west or looking at it from the east, even from, if you look at it in a straight line from one end to the other, they're in perfect lines. Whoever built them really well. And I took some photographs how it was built on top of the ledge and how the ledge had to be cleared and the stones placed. There had to be a base of stones on the bottom, a lot of flat stones that were layered on top of each other along the bottom, a lot of big stones also, very big stones. And they were all dragged up to the top of this ledge as high as you could go on either side. If you stand on the wall, you look east or west, you're looking downhill, both sides. And, it was clearly a project to bring all these stones up to that point and then lay them all out for several hundred feet in a perfect line, lining up north to south, and then putting every stone together, which to my eye looks intentional. Every stone looks intentional. They're built very well. And they tell stories. Every section of the wall, if you look at it, has different pictographs in it, or giant glyphs, is what I like to call them. And there's other researchers out there looking
I call them
stories in the walls.
But
and if you look around the world, there are walls that have similar things in them. Peru's one of them. But New England is so...
Peru?
Peru, yes.
Why Peru?
There's a lot of megalithic wall constructions in Peru.
Where is Peru?
In South America.
Okay.
it's
Peru.
it's on the most southern
they have a
part
lot of
South
megalithic
America.
constructed walls. And New England is very unique in that it ties together a lot of the symbolism of all these other constructions around the world, which is the serpent, old symbol. And but it's very unique construction, these walls, the way they're built. They're acoustically built. If you tap on them, like I keep saying, if you tap on them, they ring. They're acoustically built. They're built on ledge. There's something about the vibration in them. There's something about being built on ledge, the quartz rock in them, and the stories they tell. And you never know what they're telling. You have to be imaginative, I guess, to create a story out of a spiral, but it could be that the walls, they are calendar walls. They look to the stars. Maybe the spiral has something to do with the heavens, and you look up and There are people who like to, relate stones to the sky and objects in the sky, and you find relationships everywhere. Even the pyramids in Egypt are related to stars, the way they're positioned on the earth. And it's no different with the stone walls here, these stone walls that we're talking about. And if you can line up a wall straight north-south without a compass, how would you do it? You'd have to look at the stars. You'd have to know what you were doing. And you'd have to be quite aware of what the heavens were doing around you and where you planted your feet on the earth to line north and south up in a straight long wall if you're a prehistoric person, I think. And then put language in them, why not? Build them acoustically. Maybe there's a technology that we're missing. Maybe there's something they were doing that we just don't have a clue on. That's where I'm going right now. There's something they were doing that we don't really have anything to base ourselves with, our modern thinking and our modern minds. And maybe we can find it in their art and in their walls and things like that, or come close to it, or get to an answer anyway, what they were doing and why they made such beautiful objects of art. Why would you do that? And they did it. And that fascinates me as an artist because the images are incredible. They can be so natural yet so mysterious when you carve something into quartz. And they carved their faces, they carved their portraits, they carved animals, they carved stories into these objects. It's incredible, the things. And I found all of these things. I don't think they've ever been described before by any institutions anywhere. You can't find these things. As far as the storyline is, Native Americans pecked into stone and polished stone. That was about it. And the petroglyphs in Bellows Falls is a perfect example, a few hundred feet from here. They're just circles with, two eyes and a mouth in them. That's pretty much what they figure they did. But if you look at the crystals and the stones that I've found, they're beautifully carved portraits of people with headdresses on, with animals in them, and they tell these mysterious stories, and they show images of people with beards and people with different types of faces than Native Americans. They show Native American people also, that type of face, and even a Mayan type looking face, and giant headdresses, and they dressed up, and the giant story is even another part of it. It's just a part of it. And something fascinating was happening, and when we start talking about civilizations and lost civilizations, what we do is we pick up all these little pieces and we place them together and we say, wow, it really was a civilization that had quite the flair for art and beauty and technology and astronomy. And where are they? And what book can you go to that will have these people in it? So Dave and I like to call them the white stone people because that's a common thread, at least in this area, is the white quartz, the white stone. And that's probably a good place to start. And there were serpent images and bird imagery, mammoths, things like that. But the white stone, I think, sort of runs through it all. And we call them the white stone people, just to begin with.
Are there certain stones in Peru that relate to the certain stones in Vermont?
No, they have walls in Peru that they're megalithic walls, and the storyline is, well, we don't know who made them. They came first. They're the best built walls. They're the ones with no seams in them. You can't get a credit card.
But I
through
think
them.
they
fit very well, and they're giant. They're very big. They're very different than the ones here. It's just that there's imagery
the common
in them.
theme with the Peru walls, with the megalithic walls in Peru, the common theme with the walls in the northeastern part of North America is that they have pictures in them, you see. So in Peru there, in the megalithic walls there, you'll see a depiction of, let's say, a puma or a snake or a turtle or a bird that's built into the wall. They actually shape the stones and place them strategically to form this picture. in the walls over there. So in a similar way, those pictures occur in the walls of the Northeast here, but they're not only pictures, as Jimmy was saying. They're stories, they're information, they're instructions, they're a number of different messages that were put into these walls, especially here in the Northeast. I think in a way maybe even a little bit more complicated than the stone walls in Peru, where there's more information in these walls than we can possibly imagine. And there's a lot of forethought that went into these walls. Before they even constructed them, they already had an idea of what it was that they wanted to put in the walls, whatever message, whatever story. And Jimmy and I have been uncovering those messages and those stories as we've been researching these walls in the Northeast. And clear, as they said, there may be some relationship to, let's say, the Maya or the Aztec. They say that about the Mississippian culture, that they had some sort of relationship there. But as near as I can determine, it seems to me that there's pictograms in the wall similar to that of the codices, or what the Chinese do, or what cuneiform is for the Sumerians. There's pictograms in the wall which are actually words that are, that are pictures, pictures that are words, art forms that are words. So you simply look at this thing and see the symbolization, or the symbolic information there, and you're able to understand what's in the wall. And that's what we've been trying to do. We're trying to get a better understanding of what the messages were in those walls. And it seems to be like a lot of it is information, just, straight up, strictly information, Go here, do this, think about this, whatever it is. But the walls are far more complicated than anybody can possibly imagine. And we're just, we're at the tip of the iceberg with it. There's so much research that needs to be done.
There is, and we're doing it. All I can say is the story gets bigger and bigger and better, and it led me to a lot of places. It's changed everything I thought about in the last few years, at least what I've been interested in.
And hopefully we're changing minds of a lot of other people. Where at least we're giving them a clue as to what the walls actually are. And I think a lot more people are taking a second look or a third look at these walls now that, Jimmy and I have come out with a lot of this information, especially that all the walls in the Northeast would be considered serpents. The serpent is built into the walls in so many places, and it seems to stretch throughout the whole Northeast there. So a lot of the messages may have to do with, their spirituality and their mythology, but, there's also just general information in there too, I think, similar to that of the research that like Bill and Andrew are doing with the nubs and the bevel block, etc. This knowledge goes into these constructions. And it's just not simply a construction, there's more to it than that.
You can learn more by going to Paleo Mountain Man and Stonewall Research Budcast 7 on YouTube.